So this is the Livermore Rod and Gun Club. They do archery, pistol, rifle, and shotgun shooting here. Trap range is a big part of their business. They've got something like 13 or 14 traps. You see that? That was a ground squirrel ran across the road. Reminds me of my days shooting ground squirrels up in Williams and Weed, California, where the ground squirrels would run across the road, just getting to the place where we hunt. So we're pulling up to the trap range now. The parking lot's to the right. And we are here. Well, wouldn't you know it, they're having an ATA trap tournament out here. But I remember way back when that the ATA tournaments would have the whole range, like to be 10 traps. They're only running 4 traps for the competition, so that's not a whole lot. So I guess we'll still be able to get in our own trap shooting for Arturo and I on the practice trap. But we have to wait our turn for the competitors who are going to be trying to come out here and use the practice trap also. Well, they don't want me videoing to disturb the competitors, so I'm waiting until the practice trap is open, and here's the practice trap. So we're going to be shooting soon. But as you can see from looking the other direction, there's a lot of other traps not being used, and behind us is where the tournament's actually being held. There's the tournament right there. 4 traps out there in the distance. Well, shooters and reloaders, we're back from the range, and Arturo had a great time today. We shot 4 rounds of trap each. That's 100 rounds, and that was a good experience for Arturo. He had only shot a couple of rounds of trap before in his whole lifetime, so this was his most concentrated experience in trap shooting that he's ever had. And it was a good time because they welcomed him at the range. I introduced him as a new trap shooter, and the gal behind the desk was kind enough to actually give him a pin for the Livermore trap range. And see, I got a couple of those pins, but I had to earn these. He got his for free, so I kind of felt a little bit something's not right here. They just gave him a pin, but that was kind of nice. He was delighted, of course. So when we got out there, the shooters had already shot their singles, and so everybody wanted to come by over from the competition to warm up for their handicap events, and they wanted to shoot handicap. And here's Arturo and I, we're there, we want to shoot singles at 16 yards, and so we felt like we were kind of interfering with the competition, but fortunately we got our 4 rounds in, so that was nice. But there's been some changes in the trap shooting. We saw a lot more young people, not as many of the old seasoned shooters, and fewer shooters. So whether the pandemic has anything to do with that, don't know. But it was still fun, and the ammunition's changed. So don't see too many reloads on the trap ranges now. So I'm shooting my reloads, and they're actually 25 years old at least. And if you want to know how long reloads hold up, the crimps were good because my Dillon 950 did a good job reloading those, and the crimps never opened up. So all my reloads today for Arturo and I just shot beautifully, like they were reloaded last night. So our reloads will last a long time. But let me show you what they're using at the trap range. Now, all these young kids, they come out, they're not shooting slide action field guns like this one. That's what I'm using, and kind of handicapped because we're using rifle sights on this thing, and rifle sights don't work for shooting trap. I was able to ignore it for the first round. I shot 25 straight, but then this infernal thing started getting in my mind, and started missing some targets, because of the rifle sights out there obscures a lot of the view of the trap fields. So wound up shooting like 23, 22, and 22. So this is all downhill. Missed my trap guns. They're all up in Washington State. But Arturo, now he's kind of funny, and what he does is he starts with a gun down at his hip. He calls for the bird, then raises it up, so he penalized himself. And even then, the best one that he shot, the best round, was 19, which is pretty darn good for a beginner at trap. But let me show you what the young kids are using. They're using the best shotguns. These customized high ribs, single barrel, the lower barrel only, all these custom guns. They seem to be very well fitted out, and they're all shooting AA trap loads. Now the AA trap loads have changed. Let me show you. So first of all, this is an example of my 25-year-old reloads. As you see, the crimps are fine, and these shot beautifully for us today. Number 8 shot. And here are a couple of my empties, although I didn't pick my empties up. And it turns out that all the other competitors that were coming over and warming up on the practice trap were shooting factory AA ammo. This is not reload ammo. And they don't bother to pick up their empties. They just leave them out there and pick them up, throw them in a trash can. So I went ahead and liberated about 150 of these. These are the new AA's, not the old AA's that are injection molded one-piece hulls. These are now the straight wall two-piece type of hull, or even three-piece, because you're talking about the casing, the base wad, and the hull itself, which is rolled. So instead of being a tapered interior of a one-piece compression formed hull now, the Winchester AA's are the same design as all of our other trap shells now, with the separate base wad that's made out of plastic and a rolled sheet of plastic, and there's straight walls in there. So they're totally different than the Winchester AA's of before. But Winchester says you can reload these a number of times because the base wads are really secured in there. That was one of the problems with a separate base wad. Might shoot loose, but they say these won't shoot loose, so you can reload these a number of times. But nobody does. So I picked up a bunch of them. So you see, I got a whole bunch of these hulls that I picked up. We might do some videos on these, reloading these at some point in the future. Might make some slug loads in there now, because they are straight wall hulls now, perfect for reloading slugs if we're not going to reload shot. Well, Arturo has such a great time that he wants to go out there again and invite about a half dozen friends. So maybe they'll let us do video on the next time out. I can call them about that beforehand. But that's what trap shooting can do for you. It's kind of fun. They used to do it on cruise ships off the Fantail, but that stopped a while back for environmental reasons, I'm sure. But whatever, they don't do that anymore. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.